Okay, King Aijalon, the Ansubu, and TB Wahid in the living room once again with you. Are you ready for some intellectual conversation? Come on with it, my brother.
Well, Your Excellency, T.B. Wahid, Nubian Goddess, with the most toast here on Black Living Room Radio Talk. Thank you for having King Aijalon de Ansubu of Loyal Command.
All the time, all the time.
Please go to www.loyalcommand.com, get in, join, become a member. Let's change the dimension of our own situation. Now, getting back to the program at hand. So we covered the American dream, which we can do a whole another series on that just by itself, and the American experience, which that can take more ground and we can cover it because it's long as the wrong point. But the meat of our dilemma is in the third part, this three-tier system. The third part, the bottom part of the American dream, the American experience, and the American experiment. So the American experiment was to take the people, the indigenous natives of this land, to take their land, to defeat them, doing numbers through the different campaigns of the pioneers, the pilgrims, the settlers, the Puritans, and any other groups of white people that migrated on this soil. And their job was to kill as many animals as possible and to kill as many people as possible to make the soil safe for the white children. Well, this is part of the rules of engagement when you come into a new territory, right? So the American experiment is to find out how much land you can grab, and the reason you kill the animals because the animals are a food source. The reason you cut down the trees because the trees, right, is capable of hiding different elements of the flora. So when you clear it out, you have a clear vision, and that's when you can have a settlement, a colony, a township, right? Then you can build a wall of protection, or you can have a militia to protect it. And so this is what you call clearing out all the way to the west, where they know what regions, where the forest at, they know the interior forest, they know what areas they don't. They know what the plains are, what the mountains. That's called the Great American Experiment, right? So the experiment is on how to domesticate the land, how to build the resources of the land. Another part of the experiment is to take the natives and to see what is their defense mechanism. Spears, bow and arrows, guerrilla warfare, hit and retreat campaigns. And so they took in the data to see how, as they came from the East Coast and from down south and from up north, right, how they worked together to corral the natives and beat them sufficiently until they were ready to sign global white supremacist racism contracts called treaties. And they have groomed the white man to rape and pillage different Indian tribes and have them bear children. And they took those children and put them in orphanages. And inside the orphanage, they had school. School taught them the English language, and at the same time allowed them to keep their local native languages. So those children can interpret what was being said by the different tribes and tell the different tribes what had been said in Spanish, French, or English. Now, in the Great American Experiment, you always have to remember that the French, the Spanish, and the English, England, Spain, and French were a part of the same domestication of the United States land. What's your question, Queen? What was your question, Your Highness?
I did have a question.
Okay. Would you like me to continue?
Yeah, I think it'll come back.
Flag me anytime, because so I'm just trying to get
Right.
the
I got
part
you.
where the African Americans come in inside the Great American Experiment. So the Great American Experiment was to import Africans or Afro people with Afros
Okay,
from
can
around the world.
I got a question.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Queen.
See, that's what I want to, partly what I want to do too. I guess that's why, part of me, why I started doing this. Because it ain't going to help on the comments, but maybe if we can get the information out, based on the subject of a comment or something that somebody is having some type of confusion with, or it might even be a post, and you saw how the people had no clue as far as the information about themselves that they should know. So based on that, you can build a subject and answer that question for them. You understand what I'm talking about?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
earlier today I saw a post that somebody posted saying that some of us were already over here, right? And that we weren't from Africa. But they keep trying to deny Africa, like Dr. Runoko Rashidi said, that it really doesn't matter what part of Africa you're from, just that you're from there and those are your ancestors. But yeah, you can find your family. That's great. That's awesome. But you're trying to detach yourself by saying that we were already over here. Well, we know some of us already know we were already over here, but they want to detach themselves from the motherland for some kind of reason. Africa is in your DNA, no matter whether you were over here or not.
And absolutely, that's where I was getting into the part of the Great American Experiment, that they
That's
were importing
ridiculous.
people from Africa and also the Afro from around the world. Um, they were taking them out of their environments, North America, Central America, and South America, or they were domesticating them, or they were earning the food supply in their
Mm-hmm.
own environments, so they could be dependent on the global white supremacist institution to have these food supply. Um, so let me put this in focus because what you said was great, um, and I just want to come to that. But I'm gonna deal with that issue right now. Then I can get back to because it all ties in. So what I heard T.B. Wahid says or say is that within the Afro people, and I won't say Afro people, I'll say Afro because we all have Afros on our head. And the ones that you have some straight hair, you can blow dry it and get an Afro because you got it in your DNA. You got curls whether it was born. So we're not gonna go that deep to the few who be
Mm-hmm.
melanated without it. But we're not talking about the Asiatics or the Arab or the Mongoloid Native Americans. We're talking about the ones with afros on their head, which come with many different facial types, many different cheekbone structure, and chin structure, and nose structure, and eye structure. Why am I saying this? Because there is a typicality of identity inside the African facial system, right? That meets our brothers and sisters over here in North America, Central America, and South. The part and the saddest part of people saying that they're Native American um, is they're not thinking past the United States plane. They're not thinking about Canada, America, Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras,
Yep.
Bolivia, Colombia. So now when you look at that train, you have to understand what the folklore says. The folklore says, right, about anywhere from 3,000, 2,000 to 1,500 years ago, the inhabitants of North America, South America, and Central America with the Afro said they came over here by way of Africa and that there's a trade route where the Atlantic wind blows when it was the Ethiopian Ocean. Now, if we stop, pause, and picture the Indian Ocean, which was already mapped out by Africans. And they came over here and explored the interior. And they got different resources that they took back to Africa, as well as they brought resources from Africa back over here. So we see some things that is indigenous to Africa over here in this part of the West. And we also see some things that indigenous to this part of the West over into Africa. And we have folklore, we have fables, and we have mythology, and we have direct quotations of the people of South America, Central America, and North America saying they came out of Africa 3,000, 2,000, 1,500 years ago. And we have a testimony of the Africans saying that they rode the Ethiopian Ocean winds and currents to get here.
Mm-hmm.
Now that we have that established for the Afros, that the Afros have got, this is part of the American experiment, is to collect the Afros as prisoners of war.
Mm-hmm. That's what they wanted.
As prisoners of war. So on the territory, inside the treaty, there was a clause for the straight-haired so-called Native Americans to go and corral the Negro, the Indigo. They wasn't called Native Americans. They were called Indigo Negroes. So you had the Negro, you had the African Negro, and you had the indigenous Indigo Negro on these continents, on these landmasses.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the Indigo Negro stories and spirituality says they came from Africa, as well as the same story you find in India, in Australia, in Fiji, in the Melanesia, the Oceanic Islands, right? Over in Southern Europe, and anywhere in the world. Even in China, there's a tribe called the Han that says they came from Africa. In India, they're called the Nadu.
And Japan.
Over in Japan, they call them the Anu, or the Inai. We can go on about that.
Yeah, we could. Yeah.
The point I'm trying to make, my brothers and sisters, in the Great American Experiment, they experimented on taking populations of Afro people and subjugating them to plantations, overseers, and elimination of indigenous knowledge for medicine, science, geography, and they breeded generations that stayed literally on a plantation and breeded their language out of them, their diet out of them, in their social order out of them, right? Before they allowed the estimation, the proclamation, and the proclamation of emancipation to begin with this experiment. And they allowed them to be pioneers into new territory that the institution of white supremacy could not penetrate. So once they did the proclamation, the proclamation of emancipation, they watched the so-called free indentured blacks migrate into the Midwest, up north, and parts of the South, that the limited numbers of white people could not fulfill. And they watched these blacks find new vegetation. They watched these blacks just domesticate and get along with the environment, be the animals in the environment. They didn't have to kill them. So that's when the white man came in and started killing the animals and start burning the food crops and start burning the shelter that these free blacks created all the way to the guy out west, where we talk about the story of the Black Cowboy. So I'm simply going to wrap this up. The experiment was to kidnap, to hold hostage the Afro people of the earth and place them inside institutions by eliminating their resources, their ability to move, their ability to create for themselves independently unless it's been sanctioned by one institution of global supremacy racism, institutional racism, which where they would have a manager, a director, a supervisor, an overseer, a taskmaster, a teacher, a team leader, a steward, a staff leader, or an administrator, an executive, or a judicial person, or officiant over them. They cannot make any move without a part of the global white supremacist institutional racism. Institutions that authorize personnel to govern and to administrate them on what they can and cannot do, where they can do it, where they cannot. So we had to participate. Well, in order to destroy this whole system, whether you're talking about the market of beast, whether you're talking about PIN, the chip,
Mm-hmm.
whether you're talking about the vaccine, whether you're talking about the Pope or Queen Elizabeth, whether you're talking about the CIA, the DIA, whether you're talking about the Norwegian or the French or the Russian or the Canadian or the United States, the stock market closes at 3. The stock market closes on Friday, and it opens up on Monday. If we, Afro people of the earth, did a 3-day boycott, if we did a 3-day boycott, from Friday, do not purchase anything, Saturday, do not purchase anything, Sunday, do not purchase anything. And you might say, well, it's sacrifice. Well, go get a full tank of gas. Thursday, you know, we have a whole week to prepare, right? You have a whole stock up on some food. Go on a fast. Meditate, pray.
Exactly. If
What is being said. So when you get your check or the money that you have on that Friday, you don't spend it and you don't deposit it in the bank Monday when they click on the machine of institutional racism, if they don't have any deposit, their markets go down. When their market goes down, they cannot function as an institution because you didn't give them your currency. You didn't give them your conscious energy. You didn't give them your activity. You're not the resources. You are the resource that powers global white supremacy racism. It does not function without you being its greatest resource. And the greatest weapon that they have against the Afro people of Earth is your mind. For your mind to feel that you need to watch and learn how to watch.
that's what we said in the beginning. Remember when we talked about that? The mind? Yep.
So what I'm trying to say, if you do not spend any money Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and if you wake up Tuesday, you go spend with a black business that Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, and Saturday and Sunday, those deposits, right, for that whole period will take global white supremacy, institutional racism, economic currency, and its personnel resources out of business, and it will increase the need for black personnel and black regulatory standards for them to have their own banking system, and the import and export power of the black dollar. Just by a simple 3-day boycott of the institutions of institutional racism and not using their instruments, and then the following on that Tuesday depositing or spending money with black businesses. It changes the whole dynamics, and it defeats the one world order, which is nothing but the new white order. Say it with me, y'all. New white order. There's no such thing as new world order. So you have the old world, right?
Mm-hmm.
The old world is a divided Europe. The new world is a united Europe. What was they divided in? They divided on how they was going to manage the resources of Africa. What are they united in? On how they're going to kill the Africans, exterminate them, annihilate them, and how they're going to carve Africa up and use it for their own plate. So, if you're not mindful of knowledge of self, if you do not have the image of the supreme being inside your own vessel, creating you as the original man and woman, you cannot participate in your own liberation because you don't even see yourself being liberated. So the first stage is called imagination. Two words inside imagination, TBYD, image of a nation.
Yep, image
We
of a
cannot
nation.
walk around with the image of a nation in our minds. The best
Mm-hmm.
way to walk around with an image of a nation is to have your own black kids
That's
as your
right.
image. Now, I got to get into this part. Can I get into this difficult part right here?
Yeah.
We have time?
If you can wrap it up in a minute. Like,
Okay.
yeah. I
So,
mean,
what I want to talk about is the parenting. So, the parenting is what keeps the spell on. It goes into a induced clone. Self image yourself. You get a concussion. You you uh you add more to the trauma, right? By these dramatic languages where you hypnotize your own self. Uh,
mm-hmm.
love is love. Black on black crime. All white people are not. Well, all white people are because they have not dismantled white supremacy racism. So you might be acquainted with a white individual, right? Individual as an acquaintance or associate, right? As a person, but not as a people. There's a difference between a white person and a white. There's no white people on earth that's not saying don't go get the resources out of Africa. There's no white people on earth as a people saying give reparations to black.
It really
You
isn't.
might find white person out of the white people after a while of amalgamation or integration or assimilation or what we say appropriation. In order to trick us, they might align themselves with us. But once we start getting these things, they put a self or tell you, hey, you need to let Karen or Ken, right, face be it until everything become cool. And the Negro pen, the Afro pen, will let a white face uh, be on our committee, be on our boards, be in our union, be in our association, or be a part of our social medias, or be a part of anything that we're doing. But you have to remember, they have what they call secret societies, and the United States government cannot discriminate against secret societies uh, who they enroll because they were society that's currently exclusive for a certain type of mindset and type of people based on the principle that you want to move in. So be mindful that you have a white Moose Lodge, you got a black Moose Lodge. You got a white Elks Lodge, you got a black Elks Lodge. You got white Freemasons, you got black Freemasons. They try to categorize most black Freemasons in the Pence Hall system because they had to get charted out. Dark rights, meaning that when in the beginning, when there was the African Lodge, they was going by way of Libya into Sudan, right? They were going to get the information out of Khartoum, great African descendant of the Africans. No, switched over to the charterization of the English line so that those most noteworthy grandmasters would be over everything that the African lines do. So one thing I want to tell you about institutional racism and our brothers that's in fraternities and sororities, that's in secret lodges or organizations, you find this institution and find out where they sit shop up in whatever city or town or environment and watch after black progress. So if you have a Masonic clause or a fraternity or a sorority and the black population has not progressed, if they've been there 20 years and there's no progress, if they've been there 100 years and there's no progress, if the economic system of our environment, I'm not talking about somebody getting elected who have to be black, I'm talking about ghettos, slums, or any of the standards where there's a majority of blacks, if those conditions have not changed, where a person from a lodge or from a person from a sorority or fraternity or being an alumni of any college, being in a seat of power or having an economic corporation, of that information that they received, having came back to the community to redesign the community, to reorganize the community. And a pastor is a person who's supposed to take you from one pastoral land so you don't eat up all the crop or the prosperity or the fortune and take you into another land so you can graze on so you can be fat and healthy because it's called eat of the land. I will give grant you good pastors so you can be a part of the family line. So if you're a minister, if you're a preacher, only I can tell you to look in the Bible, to repeat it, in church, your neighbor, and pastor is not talking about an investment club, if the pastor is not talking about
That's
the
right.
businesses that the community need, if the pastor is not organizing contractors and repairmen to go in to help the elderly fix their houses up at a modified rate that is just to the community inflated prices, if your pastor is not guiding you, because their church is also a business and is also a government. It's set up as a kingdom that represents God, where it has accountants, it has treasurers, and so these instruments that the
Mm-hmm.
church needs to organize itself to keep it afloat with the government should have also been a part of the program of the church to keep our community afloat.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the church is a political organization, whether you want to know it or not.
It
Now, if
is.
you look at a city government and you look at a church government, if you look at a corporate government and you look at a church government, they're one and the same. You have to
Yep.
fill paperwork out.
Yep.
They have a higher command, they have a lower command,
501.
and then they have a power. And with that, Mr. King Ansubu, the super lawyer of the joint markets, I am a high priest in the ancient New Mystical science and science of spirituality and spiritual sciences, and we're going to get into a lot of other things as I continue to come forward on Black Living Room Talk.
He said it. Black living room talk, and this is where we've been. Did you forget to
The
get your drink?
glorious
Did
one and
you
only
did you forget to
Black.
get your drink, my brother? You didn't tell me what kind of drink.
When I
Okay.
first came in,
Okay, you
I had sipped it.
okay,
I
I
had
thought you
sipped
wanted
water.
I
I
thought you
took
was
my water
you
tonight.
taking a long
I had
time drinking that water.
some of the important water.
You taking a long you better drink that water. Y'all want King Aijalon the Ansubu to come back? What do you say to that?
If they'll have me back, or even if you have me back, I'm willing to keep going to the job get done. And
Okay.
that's educating, elevating, and motivating our people to do the same.
All right. You heard it from the horse's mouth. That's
I'm
the
not a
living.
horse. I'm
You
not a
are.
horse. I'm George Blue.
Look,
I
you.
am the biggest bull in charge.
That's my brother, y'all. Ain't he something? All right, he gonna see you. We gonna see y'all again. We'll be back sooner than you think in the living room. Peace.